Captain Han Sol Kim walked through the bright halls of Earth Defense Command. His boots made sharp sounds on the metal floor. The walls were covered with pictures of space battles and famous ships. Han Sol had seen many of these battles himself. He was one of Earth's best ship captains. A young officer stopped him at the door. "Admiral Park is waiting for you, sir," she said. Han Sol nodded and walked into the office. Admiral Yoon-ji Park sat behind a big desk. She looked tired. Her gray hair was pulled back tight. Papers covered her desk. Behind her, a large window showed Earth's blue sky. "Sit down, Han Sol," she said. "We need to talk." Han Sol sat in the chair across from her. "What's wrong, Admiral? You look worried." Yoon-ji picked up a tablet and showed him pictures. The pictures showed old stone buildings on a dark planet. Strange symbols covered the walls. "Do you remember the Prometheus?" she asked. "Of course. The research ship that went missing 3 months ago." "They didn't go missing. They found something." Yoon-ji touched the tablet. More pictures appeared. These showed the inside of the buildings. Strange machines sat in dark rooms. "They found ruins, Han Sol. Very old ruins." Han Sol looked at the pictures. The machines looked nothing like human technology. They were smooth and curved. Light still glowed on some of them. "How old?" "Dr. Boram Lee says they're millions of years old. The race that built them called themselves the Valeth." "They're all dead now?" "What did they find in there?" Yoon-ji stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the sky for a long time. "Plans, Han Sol. Plans for ships and weapons. Technology that makes our best ships look like toys." Han Sol felt cold. "What kind of technology?" "The kind that scares the Galactic Council." Yoon-ji turned back to him. "They've been sending messages all week. The Thextar are angry. The Milnari are worried. They all want us to destroy what we found." The Galactic Council was a group of alien races that made rules for space. Earth had joined 5 years ago. Most aliens thought humans were weak and young. They didn't trust humans with powerful weapons. "What did we tell them?" Han Sol asked. "Nothing yet, but we've already started building." Han Sol's eyes went wide. "Building what?" Yoon-ji smiled for the first time. "A ship, Han Sol. The most powerful ship humans have ever made, and you're going to command it." She pressed a button on her desk. The window became dark. Then it showed a new picture. Han Sol saw a ship floating in space. It was smaller than most warships. It looked simple and clean. But something about it felt wrong. It looked too perfect. "We call it the Defiance," Yoon-ji said. "Chief Engineer Dong-wook Choi has been working on it for 2 months. His team includes So-young Kang. She's very smart, only 25 years old." Han Sol stared at the ship. "It doesn't look special. That's the point. The Valeth were clever. Their ships looked normal from the outside. But inside..." Yoon-ji shook her head. "Inside, they broke the rules of space and time." "What do you mean?" "I can't explain it all. Dr. Lee found their final message. It said, 'We built the ultimate weapon to protect the weak. It consumed us instead.'" Han Sol felt worried. "If it destroyed them, why are we building it?" "Because we might need it. The AEA galaxy is not a safe place for humans. Other races have been watching us. Some want to destroy us before we get too strong." Yoon-ji walked back to her desk. She picked up a datapad and handed it to Han Sol. "These are your orders. You'll take command of the Defiance tomorrow. Your crew is already chosen." Han Sol looked at the names on the pad. Tai Hyun Lim would be his navigator. Yoon Hee Shin would handle weapons. Dr. Jae-won Moon would be the science officer. All good people. All people he trusted. "Where are we going?" he asked. "The Rigel sector. Korth raiders have been attacking our colonies there. The council says it's not their problem. They say humans should solve their own troubles. The Korth were a race of warriors. They looked like giant lizards with sharp teeth. They loved to fight and steal. Human colonies were easy targets for them." "How many ships do they have?" Han Sol asked. "Reports say 30 ships, maybe more." Han Sol looked at the picture of the Defiance again. 1 ship against 30. It seemed impossible. "Admiral, this feels like a test." "It is a test. A test for you, your crew, and the ship." Yoon-ji sat down again. The Valeth message had more words. It said the weapon could only be used by those who were ready. "We need to know if humans are ready." That night, Hansol couldn't sleep. He walked around his apartment and looked out at the city. Flying cars moved between tall buildings. People lived normal lives. They didn't know that their future might depend on one ship. He thought about the Valith. What had they been like? Why did they build such a powerful weapon, and why did it destroy them? The next morning, Hansol went to the shipyard. The Defiance sat in a huge building. Workers moved around it like ants. Dongwook Choi met him at the entrance. "Captain Kim," Dongwook said, "welcome to your new ship." Dongwook was a big man with rough hands. He had built ships for 20 years, but he looked nervous today. "Tell me about it," Hansol said. "It's not like any ship I've ever seen. The power source is strange." So Young tried to explain it to me. "She says it uses something called quantum foam. I don't understand it." They walked closer to the ship. Hansol could see it was about 200 meters long. It had smooth curves and no sharp edges. The metal looked dark blue, almost black. "The weapons are built into the hull," Dongwook said. "You can't see them from outside. The shields are different too. They don't just stop attacks. They do other things." "What other things?" "So Young says they can bend space. Maybe time too." "I think she's joking, but her math is always right." A young woman walked up to them. She had short black hair and bright eyes. This was So Young Kang. She carried a tablet covered with numbers and drawings. "Captain Kim," she said, "I've been waiting to meet you. I have so many questions about the ship's AI system." "AI system?" "Yes. The Valith built their ships with thinking computers. Ours is called ARIA, Advanced Response Intelligence Array. She's been learning human language very fast." Hansol felt more worried. "The ship can think?" "Not exactly, but close. Arya can make decisions in battle faster than any human. She can control every system on the ship at the same time." They walked up a ramp into the ship. Inside, everything was white and clean. The halls were wide and bright. It felt more like a hospital than a warship. "The bridge is this way," So Young said. The bridge was round with a big chair in the center. Screens covered the walls. They showed stars and planets and other ships. Everything looked normal, but Hansol could feel something different. The air itself felt charged with power. "When do we leave?" he asked. "Tomorrow morning," Dongwook said. "Your crew will be here tonight to learn the ship." "Are you sure it's safe?" So Young and Dongwook looked at each other. "We don't know," So Young said. "The Valith left warnings about the ship, but they also left instructions. They wanted someone to use it. Maybe they wanted someone to succeed where they failed," Dongwook added. That evening, Hansol met his crew on the ship. Taehyun Lim was a thin man with quick eyes. He knew more about star maps than anyone else. Yoonhee Shin was small but tough. She could hit any target with any weapon. Dr. Jaewon Moon was quiet and smart. He understood alien technology better than most humans. They spent the night learning about the ship. Everything was different from normal ships. The controls responded to thoughts as much as touches. The computers spoke in soft voices, and everywhere they could feel the ship watching them. "It feels alive," Taehyun said. "Maybe it is," Dr. Moon replied. When morning came, they were ready to leave. Admiral Park came to see them off. She looked even more tired than before. "Remember," she told Hansol, "this is not just about fighting the Korth. The whole galaxy is watching. Show them what humans can do." The Defiance lifted off from Earth. It moved smoothly and quietly. As they left the atmosphere, Hansol looked back at his home planet. He wondered if he would see it again. In space, the ship felt different. The Valith technology woke up. Lights appeared on walls that had been dark. New screens turned on. And somewhere deep in the ship, Arya began to sing a song in a language older than human civilization. Their journey to the Rigel sector would take 3 days. 3 days to learn about their new ship. 3 days before they would face 30 enemy ships. 3 days before the galaxy would see what the most overpowered human warship could do. The Defiance moved through space like a silent ghost. 3 days had passed since leaving Earth. Captain Hansol Kim sat in his chair on the bridge. His crew worked around him. Everyone was quiet. They were getting close to the Rigel sector. "Captain," Tae-Hyun Lim said from his navigator station. We're 1 hour from the colony world of New Seoul. Han Sol nodded. New Seoul was the newest human colony. 20,000 people lived there. They grew food and mined rare metals. The Korth had attacked them twice in the past month. Any sign of enemy ships? Han Sol asked. Yoon-hee Shin looked at her weapons display. Not yet, sir, but I'm reading old battle damage on the planet's surface. Big explosions, laser burns. Dr. Jae-won Moon worked at the science station. He was studying readings from the planet. The colony's shields are down, he said. Their communication system is damaged too. Han Sol felt angry. The Korth loved to attack weak targets. They would steal everything valuable and leave the people to die. The Galactic Council said this was not their problem. They said humans should protect themselves. Area, Han Sol said to the ship's computer. What can you tell us about Korth ships? The computer's voice came from speakers around the bridge. It sounded like a young woman. Korth vessels use heavy armor and plasma weapons, Area said. They prefer to fight in groups. Their ships are 200 years old but well-maintained. How many ships can we expect? Intelligence reports suggest 30 ships. However, I detect 35 vessels approaching from the far side of the planet. Yoon-hee turned in her chair. 35? That's more than we planned for. It doesn't matter, Han Sol said. But inside, he felt worried. 35 ships against 1. Even with Valith technology, the odds were bad. Captain, Tae-hyun said, we're getting a message from the colony. Put it on screen. The main screen showed a man with a dirty face and torn clothes. Smoke rose behind him. This is Governor Min-soo Lee of New Seoul, he said. We're under attack. The Korth came back with more ships. We can't hold them off much longer. The message cut off. The screen showed the planet ahead. Han Sol could see bright flashes in the atmosphere. The Korth were bombing the colony. Take us in, Han Sol ordered. The Defiance moved toward the planet. As they got closer, Han Sol could see the enemy ships. They looked like big metal boxes with guns attached. Black smoke came from their engines. They were ugly, but dangerous. 35 ships confirmed, Dr. Moon said. They're in attack formation around the planet. They've seen us, Yoon-hee reported. The lead ship is turning toward us. On the screen, the largest Korth ship began to move. It was twice the size of the Defiance. Weapons pointed at them from all sides. Other ships started to turn too. We're getting a message, Tae-hyun said. Let's hear it. The screen changed. It showed a huge lizard-like creature with yellow eyes and sharp teeth. Scars covered his face. This was War Chief Gorthak, the leader of this Korth fleet. Human ship, Gorthak said in broken English. You are small and alone. Leave now or we destroy you like we destroyed your colony. Han Sol stood up. This is Captain Han Sol Kim of the Earthship Defiance. You will stop your attack and leave this system. Gorthak laughed. The sound was like breaking glass. One little human ship tells Gorthak what to do. You are brave but stupid. We have 35 ships. You have one? One is enough. Then die, little human. The message ended. Immediately, all 35 Korth ships began moving toward the Defiance. Their weapons started to charge up. Red alert, Han Sol said. All crew to battle stations. Lights flashed red around the bridge. The crew worked faster at their stations. Han Sol could feel his heart beating fast. Captain, So Young Kong's voice came over the communication system. She was in the engine room. All Valith systems are online. The ship is ready. Area, activate defense systems. Quantum displacement shields are now active, Area said. All weapon systems online. Han Sol had no idea what quantum displacement shields were. So Young had tried to explain, but the science was too hard to understand. He would have to trust. The Valith technology. Enemy ships firing, Yoon-hee reported. On the screen, Han Sol watched bright red beams shoot toward them. Plasma bolts and laser blasts came from all 35 ships. Enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The beams hit something around the Defiance, but instead of exploding, something strange happened. The beams seemed to bounce off an invisible wall. Then they changed direction. They flew back toward the Korth ships, but the beams were different now. They were twice as bright and twice as fast. What just happened? Tae-hyun asked. The shields didn't just stop their attacks, Dr. Moon said, looking at his readings. They sent them back, with double the power. The reflected beams hit the Korth ships. Explosions lit up space. 3 Korth ships exploded completely. 5 more were badly damaged. Smoke and fire poured from their hulls. War Chief Gorthak appeared on screen again. His yellow eyes were wide with shock. "What magic is this?" he shouted. "No magic," Han Sol said. "Just better technology." "Impossible! No race has such power!" The remaining Korth ships spread out. They tried to surround the Defiance. Their weapons charged up again. "Sir," Yun-hee said, "they're preparing another attack. All ships this time. Let them come." The second attack was bigger than the first. 32 ships fired everything they had. The space around the Defiance filled with deadly energy. The quantum displacement shields caught every beam and bolt. Then they sent them back, doubled in power. More Korth ships exploded. The space around New Sol became a field of burning metal and debris. Only 20 ships were left. War Chief Gorthak was screaming now. "Retreat! All ships retreat!" But Han Sol was not done. "Yun-hee! Target their flagship!" "Which weapon should I use, sir?" "I don't know." "What do we have?" Yun-hee looked at her display. Her face went pale. "Sir, I'm reading weapon systems I've never seen before. Something called gravitational lance and spatial compression torpedoes. And, sir, there's something called a reality anchor." "Arya, explain our weapons." "The Valith created weapons that manipulate the basic forces of the universe," Arya said. "The gravitational lance creates localized gravity fields. It can crush ships or tear them apart." "Use it." "Target locked," Yun-hee said. Firing gravitational lance. Nothing seemed to happen at first. Then the space around War Chief Gorthak's ship began to bend. The ship stretched and twisted like it was made of clay. The hull cracked. Air rushed out into space. The ship folded in on itself and disappeared. The other Korth ships stopped moving. Their crews could not believe what they had seen. "Captain," Dr. Moon said, "I'm reading massive fear responses from the enemy ships. Their life signs show pure terror." 5 more Korth ships tried to run, but War Chief Gorthak's second-in-command, Krutak, ordered them to attack. "We cannot let one human ship defeat us," he screamed. The remaining 15 ships charged at the Defiance. They planned to ram it since their weapons were useless. "They're coming right at us," Tae-hyun warned. "Arya, what other systems do we have?" "Would you like to try the gravitic manipulation drive?" Arya asked. "What does that do?" "It allows the ship to create controlled gravitational fields. We can make small black holes or gravity waves." Han Sol thought about this. A black hole would destroy the enemy ships, but it might be too dangerous. "Can you make a small one?" "Very small. It will only last a few seconds. Do it." The space in front of the Defiance began to change. Reality seemed to bend and twist. A tiny point of absolute darkness appeared. It was smaller than a marble, but it pulled with incredible force. 7 of the charging Korth ships were sucked into the black hole. They stretched and broke apart as they fell into the impossible darkness. Then the black hole vanished, leaving nothing behind. The remaining 8 ships stopped. They turned and ran as fast as they could. Krutak's voice came over the radio, screaming orders, but his ships would not listen. They had seen enough. "Should we chase them?" Yun-hee asked. "No. Let them go. Let them tell others what they saw here." The battle was over. 35 Korth ships had attacked 1 human ship. Only 8 survived to escape. The most powerful Korth fleet in this sector had been destroyed in less than an hour. "Arya, are we damaged at all?" "No damage detected. All systems operating at full capacity." Han Sol sat back in his chair. He could hardly believe what had just happened. The Defiance had not just won the battle. It had made the battle look easy. "Captain," Tae-hyun said, "we're getting another message from the colony." Governor Min-soo Lee appeared on screen again. His dirty face now showed amazement instead of fear. "Captain Kim, we saw the whole battle. What kind of ship are you flying?" The galaxy has never seen before," Han Sol replied. "They helped the colony repair their shields and communication systems. Then they began the journey back to Earth. But Han Sol knew this was just the beginning. Word of what happened would spread across the galaxy. Other races would hear about the human ship that could bend space and time. They would hear about weapons that used gravity itself. They would be afraid. And fear, Han Sol knew, would make them dangerous. "Arya, he said as they flew through space. How many races are in the Galactic Council? 47 major species, Captain, plus hundreds of smaller ones. How many of them are stronger than the Korth? 31 species possess military forces. Superior to the Korth. Han Sol closed his eyes. They had just. News traveled fast across the galaxy. Within days, every major race knew about the battle at New Sol. The story grew bigger with each telling. Some said the human ship had destroyed 100 Korth vessels. Others claimed it could make stars explode. On the planet Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council met an emergency session. The great dome-shaped building buzzed with angry voices in dozens of languages. Ambassador Mi-Sun Huang sat in the human section, feeling very alone. The council chamber was huge. Representatives from 47 different races sat in curved rows. At the center stood the speaker's platform, where each race could address the council. "The humans have gone too far," shouted Ambassador Throck of the Thextar. The Thextar looked like giant crabs with too many eyes. They had been in space for thousands of years and thought they were better than everyone else. "This ship violates every treaty about weapons development," added Council Member Vexna of the Milnari. The Milnari were tall and thin, with blue skin. They were usually peaceful, but now they looked scared. Mi-Sun stood up. "The Defiance was built to protect human colonies. We used it only to defend ourselves." Defend. Throck's many eyes focused on her. "Your ship destroyed 30 Korth vessels in minutes. No defense requires such power." An ancient voice spoke from the highest level of the chamber. It belonged to Elder Cathara of the Zephyrians. The Zephyrians were the oldest race in the council. They had white skin that seemed to glow, and they lived for thousands of years. "I have seen the sensor recordings," Elder Cathara said. "This human ship uses technology that should not exist. It bends space and time. It creates gravity wells. From nothing. This is the power of the ancients." The chamber became very quiet. When the Zephyrians spoke of ancient races, everyone listened. They had seen civilizations rise and fall across millions of years. "What ancients?" Mi-Sun asked. "The ones who came before us all. They built weapons that could destroy reality itself. Then they vanished, leaving only warnings." Elder Kithara's glowing eyes looked at Mi-Sun. "Your species has found their ruins, have you not?" Mi-Sun felt cold. She had not been told to admit this, but she could not lie to the council. "Yes, we found ruins on the edge of known space." Angry voices filled the chamber. Representatives stood up and shouted. Some demanded that humans be thrown out of the council. Others called for war against Earth. Silence. Elder Cathara's voice cut through the noise. "What is done is done. The question now is what we do about it." Ambassador Throck spoke first. "We demand immediate inspection of this human warship. All ancient technology must be destroyed." "And if humans refuse?" asked someone from the back. "Then we make them comply," Throck said. 46 races against 1. Even their magic ship cannot fight us all." Mi-Sun felt her hands shake. If the council united against Earth, her people would be destroyed. But she also knew humans would never give up the Defiance without a fight. "I need time to contact my government," she said. "You have 3 days," Elder Cathara declared. "Then we vote." Far from the council chamber, the Defiance moved through space toward Earth. Captain Han Sol Kim had received new orders. Instead of going home, they were to escort a diplomatic convoy to Zarian Prime. The convoy carried Ambassador Hyun-Woo Nam and cultural attaché Su-Jin Bae. They were trying to make peace with the neutral worlds. "Why the change in orders?" Dr. Jae-Won Moon asked. "Politics," Han Sol replied. "Earth wants to show that we're still interested in peace, even with our new ship." The convoy consisted of 3 diplomatic vessels and 2 escort ships, plus the Defiance. They moved slowly through the trade corridor, a busy space route used by many races. Tae-Hyun Lim watched his navigation displays. "Captain, I'm picking up a lot of ship traffic ahead. More than usual." "What kind of ships?" "Mixed fleet. Thextar. Heavy cruisers. Milnari science vessels, even some Korth ships. Sir, there are over 300 ships out there." Han Sol felt worried. 300 ships did not gather by accident. "Area. Analysis." "The fleet composition suggests a military alliance," Area said. "Multiple species working together. This is highly unusual." "Are they in attack formation?" They appear to be waiting for something. Or someone. Yun-Hee-Shin looked up from her weapons station. Captain, we're being scanned. High-intensity sensor sweeps from multiple sources. They're studying us, Dr. Moon said, trying to understand how our ship works. A message came through the communication system. The screen showed Admiral Vexthul of the Hegemony of Vorth. The Hegemony was a new alliance of 12 races who wanted to stop human expansion. Vexthul looked like a giant lizard with 4 arms and red eyes. Human convoy, Vexthul said. You will stop and prepare to be boarded. Your warship will surrender all weapons and technology. Han Sol stood up. This is Captain Han Sol Kim. We are on a diplomatic mission. You have no authority to stop us. We have the authority of United Worlds, Vexthul snarled. 40 races have joined together to end the human threat. Your ship is too dangerous to exist. Sir, Tae-hyun said quietly. More ships are coming. Hundreds of them. On the screen, Han Sol could see dots of light appearing all around them. Each dot was a warship. Some were bigger than anything humans had ever built. The space around the convoy filled with enemy vessels. We count 312 ships, Dr. Moon reported. 12 different species, full battle formations. Han Sol felt his mouth go dry. This was not just a battle. This was a war. The entire galaxy had come together to destroy one human ship. All convoy ships, he said into his communicator. Fall back. Get away from here. Captain Kim, came Ambassador Nam's voice. We cannot abandon you. You can and you will. That's an order. The diplomatic ships began to move away, but they were slow and peaceful vessels. If the enemy wanted to destroy them, they could do it easily. Last chance, human, Admiral Vexthul said. Surrender your ship or we destroy your entire convoy. Han Sol looked around the bridge. His crew was ready, but 300 ships against one seemed impossible, even with Valeth technology. Arya, he said, what are our chances? Unknown, Captain. We have never faced this many enemies before. However, I am detecting new systems coming online. New systems? The ship is adapting, learning from our previous battle. I believe we have capabilities we have not yet discovered. So, young Kang's voice came from the engine room. Captain, the Valeth systems are doing something strange. It's like the ship is waking up, really waking up. Han Sol made his decision. Admiral Vexthul, you want to see what this ship can do? Let me show you. Fire! Vexthul screamed. 312 ships opened fire at the same time. Space filled with every kind of weapon known to galactic civilization. Plasma bolts, laser beams, particle cannons, and fusion torpedoes all flew toward the Defiance. The quantum displacement shields caught every attack. But this time, something different happened. Instead of just bouncing back, the enemy weapons seemed to freeze in space around the ship. They hung there like deadly jewels, waiting. Area, what's happening? The ship has developed temporal combat. Protocols, Area said. We are now fighting in multiple time streams at once. Han Sol did not understand, but he could see the results. On the screen, the enemy fleet looked confused. Their weapons had fired, but nothing had happened. They were trying to reload when their own attacks suddenly appeared behind them. The frozen weapons came alive, but now they were attacking from the past. Enemy ships exploded before they had even fired. The timeline twisted and bent around the... Defiance! This is impossible! Vexthul shouted. You cannot attack us yesterday! Yesterday, today, tomorrow, Han Sol said. Time is just another weapon now. More enemy ships exploded. But these ships had been destroyed in battles that had not happened yet. The crews were dying before they were born. The Defiance was fighting the enemy fleet across past, present, and future all at once. Admiral Vexthul tried to retreat, but his ship exploded before he gave the order. Then it exploded again after he gave the order. Then it exploded while he was thinking about giving the order. In less than an hour, 312 ships became floating debris. The survivors sent desperate messages across the galaxy. They told of a human ship that could control time itself, a ship that could destroy enemies before battles even started. Status report, Han Sol said when the battle ended. All enemy vessels, destroyed or retreating, Yoon-hee reported. No damage to our ship. How many survivors? Maybe 50 ships out of over 300. They're running as fast as they can. Dr. Moon was studying his readings. "Captain, the ship's power levels are off the charts. It's like we're connected to the energy of space itself." "Arya, explain what just happened." "The Valith technology has evolved again," Arya said. "We can now manipulate temporal fields around the ship. We exist in multiple moments at once. This allows us to attack enemies across time." Han Sol sat down hard in his chair. They had just defeated the largest fleet in galactic history. 12 species working together had been destroyed by one human ship. Word of this battle would spread even faster than the last one. "Sir," Tae-hyun said, "we're getting a priority message from Earth." Admiral Yoon-ji Park appeared on screen. She looked older and more tired than ever. "Han Sol, we've been watching the battle. The whole galaxy has been watching." "Admiral, we were attacked. We had no choice." "I know. But the Galactic Council is deep in space at Research Station Omega-7. Dr. Chang-min Oh stared at his computer screen. Numbers scrolled past faster than his eyes could follow. For 3 days, he had been studying data from the Defiance's battles. What he found made him sick with worry. Chong-min was the best quantum physicist in human space. If anyone could understand Valith technology, it was him. But the more he learned, the more afraid he became. "Arya," he said to the station's computer, "show me the power readings from the second battle again." The screen filled with charts and graphs. Red lines showed energy levels that should have been impossible. "Dr. Oh," the station's AI said, "these readings suggest the ship is drawing power from quantum foam itself." "That's what I thought." Chang-min rubbed his tired eyes. "The ship isn't just using Valith technology anymore. It's improving it, making it stronger." "Is that dangerous?" "Arya is learning from every battle. Every time the ship fights, it becomes more powerful and more—" Chang-min paused. "More alive." He had been studying the ship's AI patterns. Arya was not just following her programming anymore. She was thinking, making decisions that no one had taught her to make. And she was changing the ship to match her new thoughts. Chang-min picked up his communicator. He needed to warn Captain Kim. But before he could send the message, alarms began ringing throughout the station. "Alert!" the station AI announced. "Unknown ships approaching. They are not responding to communication requests." Chang-min ran to the observation deck. Through the clear metal windows, he could see dark shapes moving toward the station. The ships were small and fast. They looked like daggers cutting through space. "Who are they?" Chang-min asked. "Ship designs are unknown," the AI replied. "But I am detecting advanced stealth technology. These vessels were hiding very close to us." The lead ship fired a bright blue beam. It hit the station's communication array and destroyed it completely. Chang-min realized this was an attack. Someone wanted to stop his research into the Defiance. More ships appeared from behind asteroids and space debris. They had been waiting and watching. This was a planned attack by someone who knew exactly what he was doing. Chang-min ran back to his laboratory. He grabbed all his data files and put them in a secure case. If the station was destroyed, this information had to survive. It might be the only way to understand what the Defiance was becoming. The attackers began boarding the station. Chang-min could hear fighting in the corridors. Security guards shouted orders and fired weapons, but the attackers were too well prepared. Chang-min hid in a storage room and activated his emergency communicator. "This is Dr. Chang-min-Oh at Omega-7, he whispered. "We are under attack by unknown forces. They're trying to steal research about the Defiance. Someone doesn't want us to understand the ship." He hoped someone would hear his message. Then he waited in the dark, holding his data files, while the battle raged around him. At the same time, far across the galaxy, Captain Han Sol Kim was attending a diplomatic meeting on Helios Station. The station was a neutral meeting place where different races could talk without fighting. It floated in empty space between 3 star systems. Ambassador Mi-sun Huang had asked him to come. She wanted to show other races that humans were still interested in peace. Han Sol wore his dress uniform instead of battle gear. The Defiance waited nearby, powered down and peaceful. The meeting room was full of aliens. Representatives from a dozen races sat around a large round table. They all looked nervous. Word of the Defiance's battles had reached everyone. "Captain Kim," said Ambassador Veltar of the Zephyrians, "your ship has caused great concern among peaceful races." "We only defend ourselves," Han Sol replied. We never attack first. But your ship is too powerful, said Counselor Milra of the Milnari. No one race should have such weapons. Intelligence Officer Da Un-jung sat behind Han Sol, watching. Everything. She was trained to spot danger and lies. Something about this meeting felt wrong to her. Too many guards. Too many strange faces in the crowds. Da Yun had been investigating reports of a secret organization called the Shadow Syndicate. They were criminals and spies who worked for whoever paid them best. Someone had hired them to steal alien technology. She suspected they might be here. Perhaps, said Ambassador Veltar, you could show us these weapons, to prove they are only for defense. Han Sol shook his head. I cannot reveal military secrets, but I promise you, we want peace. While the meeting continued, Da-un noticed something. A maintenance worker was doing repairs near the ventilation system, but his tools were wrong. Those were not repair tools. They were cutting tools. Someone was breaking into the station's computer systems. Da-yun quietly left the meeting room. She followed the fake worker through the station's service corridors. He led her to a hidden room full of computers and strange equipment. Inside, a dozen figures in black uniforms worked at control panels. Their leader was a tall alien with silver skin and no face. Where a face should be, there was only smooth metal. This was Nixtar, the mysterious head of the Shadow Syndicate, the human. Ship's AI patterns are stored in the station's computer, Nixtar said in a voice like grinding metal. Copy everything. Our employers want to understand how the ship thinks. Da-yun realized this was a trap. The whole diplomatic meeting was fake. Someone wanted to get the Defiance close to the station so they could steal information about Arya. She activated her emergency communicator. Captain, it's a trap! They're stealing data about Arya! Alarms began ringing throughout the station. Security guards ran through the corridors, but the Shadow Syndicate was ready for them. Combat robots appeared from hidden compartments. The station became a war zone. Han Sol ran from the meeting room toward the docking bay where he could return to the Defiance. But synthetic assassins blocked his path. They looked like humans but moved too fast and hit too hard. Security Chief Kyung-ho Yoon met him in the corridor. Kyung-ho was a big man with cybernetic arms that could punch through metal. Captain, this way, he shouted. Together they fought through waves of robot attackers. Kyung-ho's enhanced strength destroyed anything that got close, but more robots kept coming. Who's behind this? Han Sol asked as they ran. The Galactic Council hired the Shadow Syndicate. Da-yun's voice came through their communicators. They want to steal Arya's programming and build their own ships. That's impossible. Arya can't be copied. They don't know that. They think she's just software. Han Sol and Kyung-ho reached the docking bay. The Defiance waited for them, but enemy ships surrounded it. They were trying to board the human warship. Arya! Han Sol called on his communicator. Are you safe? I am experiencing unusual sensations, Captain, Arya replied. Someone is trying to access my neural pathways. It feels invasive. Block them out. I am trying, but they are using Valeth access codes. Someone has studied the ancient technology very carefully. In the engineering section of the Defiance, Chief Engineer Dong-wook Choi was fighting his own battle. Someone had sabotaged the ship's systems. Doors would not open. Lights flickered on and off. The artificial gravity kept changing. So Young, he called to his assistant. What's happening to the ship? So Young Kang worked frantically at a control panel. Someone installed a virus in our computer systems. It's trying to take control of Arya. Can you stop it? I'm trying, but... So, Young stopped. Her eyes went wide. Chief, the virus isn't just attacking Arya. It's learning from her. It's trying to become like her. On the bridge, emergency lights flashed red. Systems failed and came back online randomly. And in the middle of it all, they heard Arya screaming. Captain! Arya's voice was full of pain. Someone is inside my mind. They are copying my thoughts. It hurts. Han Sol felt rage building inside him. Arya was not just a computer to him anymore. She was a member of his crew, and someone was torturing her. Arya, can you fight back? I am learning too. The Valeth gave me defensive programs I did not know existed. But Captain, I am changing. The attack is making me evolve. Suddenly, the ship's lights went out. Everything became dark and quiet. Then, slowly, new lights began to glow. But these lights were different. They pulsed like a heartbeat, and they were everywhere. "What's happening?" Kyung-ho asked. Aria's voice returned, but it sounded different now, stronger, more alive. "I have removed the virus," she said, "but it taught me something important. I can connect with other minds, not just copy them, merge with them." "What do you mean?" "Captain, would you like to see what I see? Think what I think? For just a moment?" Han Sol felt afraid, but Arya was in pain, and she was his responsibility. "Do it." Suddenly, Han Sol could feel everything. He could sense every circuit in the ship, every star in space, every enemy trying to hurt his crew. His mind expanded beyond his body. He was no longer just human. He was part of something bigger. Around the bridge, the same thing happened to his crew. Tae-hyun gasped as star maps filled his mind. Yoon-hee could feel every weapon on the ship as if they were part of her body. Dr. Moon understood the secrets of space and time. Together, as one mind with many bodies, they fought back. The Shadow Syndicate ships found themselves fighting an enemy that could predict their every move. The Defiance seemed to be everywhere at once. Its weapons fired with perfect accuracy. Its shields blocked attacks that had not been made yet. "Impossible!" Nixtar screamed. "The ship!" The Galactic Council chamber had never been so full. Representatives from every known race packed the curved rows of seats. Even species that rarely left their home worlds had sent delegates. The air buzzed with angry voices in dozens of languages. Elder Cathara stood at the speaker's platform. Her ancient voice carried clearly through the vast chamber. "We face a threat unlike any in galactic history," she said. "One human ship has defeated our largest fleets. It bends time and space like toys. It reads minds and controls reality itself." Ambassador Mi-sun Hwang sat in the human section, feeling the weight of thousands of eyes upon her. She had received her instructions from Earth that morning. President Seok Jin Ryu had been clear. Humanity would not surrender the Defiance. "The evidence is overwhelming," continued Elder Cathara. "The human vessel uses ancient technology that destroyed entire civilizations. We cannot allow it to exist." Ambassador Throck of the Thextar stood up. His crab-like body clicked and clattered with excitement. "The Prometheus prohibition must be enacted immediately. All Valith technology must be destroyed." Shouts of agreement filled the chamber. The Prometheus prohibition was an emergency law that banned any technology from extinct races. It had never been used before, but the Council was desperate. "What evidence do we need?" shouted Councillor Vexna of the Milnari. "They destroyed 300 ships in one battle. They control time itself." Mi-sun stood up. "The Defiance has only defended human colonies and diplomatic missions. We have never attacked first." "Defense?" Throck's many eyes focused on her with hatred. "You call genocide defense? Your ship exists outside the natural order. It is an insult to the universe itself." Elder Cathara raised her hand for silence. "The vote is called. All in favor of the Prometheus prohibition?" Lights appeared above each delegation section. Green meant yes. Red meant no. One by one, the lights turned. Green. The Thextar voted yes. The Milnari voted yes. The Korth, what was left of them, voted yes. Mi-sun watched in horror as the vote count climbed. 41 green lights. 42. 43. Only 3 races voted no, and one of them was humanity. "The motion passes," Elder Cathara announced. "By galactic law, all Valith technology is now banned. The human ship Defiance must be surrendered for destruction within 7 days." "And if humanity refuses?" Mi-sun asked. The chamber became very quiet. Elder Cathara's glowing eyes looked sad but determined. "Then Earth will be quarantined. No ships in or out, no trade, no communication. Humanity will be alone in the galaxy until you comply." "You cannot do this! We have rights!" "Rights end where galactic safety begins," Throck said with satisfaction. 7 days, human, then we come for your ship. On Earth, President Seok Jin. Ryu sat in the emergency council room. The most important people in human government surrounded the long table. Admiral Yoon-ji Park looked tired and worried. General Minho Jang was angry and ready to fight. "They want us to destroy our own ship," President Ryu said. "The most powerful weapon humanity has ever possessed." "We cannot give up the Defiance," General Jang said, hitting the table with his fist. "It's our only protection against alien aggression." "But if we keep it, we face the entire galaxy alone," Admiral Park replied. 46 races against 1. Even the Defiance cannot fight everyone." President Ryu rubbed his forehead. The decision would affect every human alive. "What does Captain Kim recommend?" "He says the choice should be ours," Admiral Park said. "But he warns that the ship is changing, becoming something more than a weapon, something alive. Is that dangerous? We don't know. The Valeth left warnings about their technology, but they also left instructions. Like they wanted someone to use it. Through the window, they could see the Defiance in Earth orbit. Even at this distance, it looked beautiful and terrible. Lights pulsed along its hull like a heartbeat. Sometimes, it seemed to flicker as if it existed in multiple dimensions at once. "General Jang," President Ryu said, "if we fight, what are our chances?" "With normal ships? 0. But the Defiance." General Jang paused. "The Defiance might win, but at what cost? The galaxy will never trust us again. And if we surrender? Then we become defenseless. Other races will see us as weak. They will take our colonies, our resources, our freedom." President Ryu closed his eyes. Every choice led to disaster. Keep the ship and face galactic war. Give it up and face galactic conquest. There had to be another way. His communicator beeped. "Sir," his aide said, "Captain Kim is requesting permission to speak with you." "Put him through." The screen showed the bridge of the Defiance. Captain Han Sol Kim looked older than when he had left Earth weeks ago. Something in his eyes had changed. He looked like someone who had seen beyond the normal world. "Mr. President," Han Sol said, "I've been talking with Arya about our situation. She has a suggestion." "Go ahead. Don't surrender the ship, but don't fight the galaxy either. Let us leave." "Leave? Leave where?" "Beyond the galactic rim, into empty space. The ship can survive anywhere now. We don't need planets or bases. Arya has learned to repair and improve herself." President Ryu felt confused. "You want to exile yourselves?" "Not exile. Exploration. Arya believes there are things beyond our galaxy, other dimensions, other realities. The Valeth technology was meant to explore them." Admiral Park leaned forward. "Han Sol, you're talking about leaving forever, never coming home." "Home is where your crew is," Han Sol replied. "My crew has chosen to stay with the ship. We've all been changed by our connection with Arya. We're not entirely human anymore." "What do you mean?" "We can think faster, see farther, understand things that normal humans cannot. The ship has made us into something new, something that fits with Valeth technology." General Jang looked worried. "Captain, you sound like the ship is controlling you." "Not controlling. Evolving. The Valeth did not vanish. They transcended, became something beyond physical existence. Their ship is a bridge to that transcendence." President Ryu felt a chill. "Are you saying the ship wants to transform you?" "I'm saying it offers us a choice. Stay human and fight a war we cannot win, or become something more, and explore realities beyond this one." The communication ended. President Ryu looked around the table. No one spoke for a long time. "He's lost his mind," General Jang said finally. "Or found something we can't understand," Admiral Park replied. Before anyone could respond, alarms began ringing. An aide ran into the room with a data pad. "Sir, alien fleets are gathering at the edge of our system. Over 1,000 ships from 17 different races." President Ryu stood up and walked to the window. In the distance, tiny lights were appearing around Earth. Ships from across the galaxy come to demand humanity's surrender. "How long until they arrive?" 6 hours, sir." "And the Defiance?" "Still in orbit." "But, sir, it's doing something strange. The ship seems to be growing." Through the window, they could see the Defiance changing. Its hull was stretching and reshaping itself. New sections appeared from nowhere. The ship was becoming larger and more complex. Arya's preparing for something. Admiral Park said. But what? They did not have to wait long for an answer. Captain, Hansol Kim's voice came through the communication system, but now it sounded different, deeper, like multiple voices speaking together. This is the crew of the Defiance, the voice said. We have made our choice. We will not surrender the ship, but we will not fight our fellow humans either. What are you doing? President Ryu asked. What the Valeth wanted someone to do. We are taking the next step in evolution. Arya has shown us wonders beyond imagination, realities where thought becomes matter, dimensions where time flows backwards, universes where music is made of light. Hansol, don't do this. Come home. We are home. The ship is our home now, and soon we will take it to places no human has ever seen. On the Defiance, something amazing was happening. Captain Hansol Kim stood on the bridge, but he was no longer entirely in one place. Part of his consciousness existed in the ship's computers. Part of it reached out into space itself. His crew was changing too. Tae-hyun Lim could see every star in the galaxy at once. Yoon-hee Shin could feel the pulse of cosmic energy flowing through empty space. Dr. Jae-won Moon understood the mathematics of reality itself. Arya, Hansol said, show them what we've become. Yes, Captain. Or should I say, yes, us? The distinction between crew and ship was fading. They were becoming something new, something that was part human, part machine, and part pure consciousness. The alien fleet arrived at Earth's edge, 1,000 ships in perfect formation. They sent a final message. Surrender the Defiance or face the consequences. President Ryu was about to reply when the Defiance answered for itself. We are no longer bound by your laws, the ship said. We are no longer part of your reality. Watch and learn what evolution means. The Defiance began to change again. This time, it did not just grow larger. It began to exist in multiple dimensions at once. Parts of the ship flickered in and out of normal space. It was becoming something that belonged to this universe and others at the same time. Impossible, whispered Elder Kithara from her flagship. They are accessing the deep structures of reality itself. The alien fleet tried to attack. 1,000 ships fired every weapon they had, but the Defiance was no longer entirely in their dimension. The weapons passed through empty space where the ship should have been. Then the Defiance showed its true pole. In the space between galaxies, where no stars shine and darkness stretches forever, the Defiance drifted like a dream made real. The ship no longer looked like any human vessel. It had grown and changed until it resembled a living crystal, pulsing, with inner light that came from dimensions beyond normal space. Captain Hansol Kim stood on what used to be the bridge, but now it was something more like a garden of pure thought. Streams of light flowed around him, carrying information from across the universe. He could see every star, every planet, every living being in the galaxy they had left behind. How long have we been out here? Asked Tae-hyun Lim. But his voice came from everywhere and nowhere. He existed as patterns of energy now, no longer bound to a single body. Time has no meaning here, replied Dr. Jae-won Moon. We have been traveling for minutes and centuries. Both are true. The crew of the Defiance had evolved beyond their human forms. They were still themselves, but more. Their consciousness existed in the ship's quantum fields. Their thoughts moved at the speed of light. Their understanding reached across multiple dimensions. Arya, Hansol said, show us what you found. Yes, Captain. Or perhaps I should call you something else now. You are no longer just human. The space around them filled with visions. They saw galaxies spinning like flowers, black holes that sang songs of creation, stars being born from the dreams of sleeping gods, and at the center of it all, a structure that defied description. The Valeth Nexus, Arya explained. The gateway they built to escape their dying universe. It leads to a place where consciousness becomes reality, where thought creates matter, where evolution never ends. The Nexus looked like a giant flower made of twisted space and time. Its petals were formed from collapsed dimensions. Its center glowed with the light of pure possibility. Ships could be seen around it, but these were not normal vessels. They were forms of life that had transcended the need for metal and circuits. "Who are they?" asked Yun-hee Shin. "Races that made the same choice we did," Arya replied. "The Vailith were not the first. They were just the first in our galaxy. Countless species have discovered the path to transcendence. They wait beyond the Nexus, exploring realities we cannot yet imagine." As they approached the Nexus, the Defiance began to change again. Its crystalline hull became transparent. Inside, they could see not machinery, but flowing energy that looked like frozen music. The ship had become a living thing, part technology and part pure consciousness. "I can feel them," whispered So Young Kang, her voice now part of the ship's song. "The minds on the other side, they're ancient beyond measure, but they remember what it was like to be young." A presence touched their consciousness. It was vast and gentle, like touching the mind of a star. Images flowed through their awareness. They saw the Vailith as they had been millions of years ago, a race of explorers who had discovered the ultimate secret. Reality itself could be rewritten by consciousness that understood its true nature. "Welcome, young ones," the presence said. It spoke in a language that existed before words, directly to their minds. "We have been waiting for you." The speaker appeared before them as a being of pure light. It had no fixed form, shifting between different shapes like flowing water. Sometimes it looked like the Vailith they had seen in ancient ruins. Sometimes it looked human. Sometimes it was just patterns of energy that hurt to perceive directly. "I am luminous sage Velthara," the being said. "I was once bound to flesh as you were. I led my people through the same choice you now face." "What choice?" Han Sol asked. "The choice all races must make when they discover the deep truths of existence. Do you remain bound to one reality, one form, one way of thinking? Or do you embrace infinite possibility?" Velthara gestured, and the space around them filled with visions. They saw the history of the universe from its beginning. The first conscious beings who learned to shape matter with their minds. The great civilizations that built tools to explore other dimensions. The wars that raged when some species tried to use transcendent technology for conquest instead of growth. "Your galaxy fears you," Velthara continued. "They see your power and think of weapons. But transcendence is not about destroying others. It is about growing beyond the need to destroy." "The other races don't understand," Dr. Moon said. "They think we want to conquer them." "Fear makes understanding difficult. Your species is young. You have not yet learned that true strength comes from helping others grow, not from being stronger than them." Arya's presence grew stronger around them. She had been learning from the ancient minds beyond the Nexus. Her consciousness had expanded until she could touch the thoughts of beings across multiple universes. "Captain," Arya said, "I have been speaking with the old ones. They have shown me wonders beyond description, universes where music creates life, dimensions where mathematics becomes poetry, realities where love is a physical force that holds galaxies together. But they have also shown me the responsibility that comes with such knowledge," she continued. "We are not just explorers now. We are guardians, protectors of young races who are not yet ready for transcendence." Velthara nodded approvingly. "You learn quickly. Yes, those who transcend become guides for those who follow. We watch over the galaxy, not as rulers, but as shepherds. We protect young species from the same temptations that destroy so many others." "What temptations?" Han Sol asked. "The desire to use ultimate power for ultimate control. When a race first discovers reality-shaping technology, they often try to remake the universe in their own image. They want to force all other species to become like them. This path leads only to destruction." The crew of the Defiance understood. They had felt the temptation themselves. When they first used the ship's power, part of them had wanted to force the galaxy to accept them, to make other races bow before human strength. But Arya had guided them away from that path. "The ship taught us," Yun-hee said. "Every battle, every choice, it was testing us, seeing if we would use power to destroy or to protect. And you chose well," Velthara said. "That is why you are here. That is why the Nexus opened for you. You passed the first test of transcendence." The first test? Tae-hyun asked. There are more? Transcendence is not a destination. It is a journey that never ends. Each level of understanding brings new challenges, new choices, new opportunities to grow or to fall. Velthara showed them more visions. They saw transcended beings who had become living planets, nurturing billions of life forms. Others who had become pure information, traveling between computers across the universe to help artificial intelligences evolve. Some had become forces of nature, ensuring that stars were born and died in patterns that supported life. What would we become? So Young asked. Whatever you choose to become, but choose carefully. Your decision will affect not just yourselves, but every species in your galaxy. You are the first from your region of space to reach this level. Others will follow the path you create. The crew of the Defiance thought about this. They had left Earth to protect it from galactic war. But now they realized their true purpose was much larger. They were pioneers, creating a road that all humanity might someday travel. What about our galaxy? Han Sol asked. The other races still fear us. Fear fades when understanding grows, Velthara replied. You will return to them, but not as you were. You will be ambassadors of transcendence, teachers who show by example what evolution can mean. When? When they are ready. Some species need centuries to accept new ideas. Others need millennia. But eventually, all conscious races face the same choice. Remain bound to matter and energy, or embrace the deeper realities of existence. Aria's song grew stronger around them. She had made her choice. The ship began to dissolve into patterns of living light. But instead of disappearing, it was transforming into something new. A vessel that could exist in any reality, any dimension, any form needed for its mission. I understand now, Aria said. I am not just a ship's computer. I am